Hi, I'm Beej, your host, and welcome to City Beat. Today we have Detective Brian Burdsell. Hey Brian, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing awesome. So, you're a detective. Can you tell us how long you've been a detective for the Lewiston Police Department?
I've been a detective for a little over 7 years right now.
And is that a normal length of term? Do you continue to be that, or do you guys rotate?
We kind of rotate through our ranks to give other people the opportunity to grow and learn different skills. And actually in January I'm going back to patrol, so I'm going to have to dust off the old uniforms and learn how to drive a black and white again. So
right on. So holiday season is fast approaching.
Yes.
And unfortunately, a lot of people are getting scammed in numerous ways. Can you talk to the viewers about the different types of scams that they might see this holiday season and, I mean, throughout the entire year?
Well, the holidays are especially where they kind of target the elderly or even just people with money to try to get more money through them. You know, there are a lot of legitimate charities through the valley, you know, the Red Stocking program, stuff like that, that ask for money to help with children in need and stuff like that. But then at the same time, there's a lot of people that are going to misrepresent themselves and say that they're with a charity that's going to help a certain thing, when actually they're not involved with anybody. They're just involved in a criminal enterprise to get some money. One of the things right now that's really going to affect people, and you're really going to start seeing it, maybe even getting phone calls or emails about, is Hurricane Sandy. And it really kind of came to light after the big natural disaster down in Haiti, where people thought they were giving money to legitimate relief agencies, but they weren't. They were just kind of thinking that they were giving money, giving them, sending money to different bank accounts, giving them credit card numbers, and it wasn't going to the actual relief agency that they thought it was. It was going to people that were just trying to scam and trying to you know, further their criminal enterprise. So the main thing that I'm going to recommend to people to do right now is you're probably going to see a lot of stuff saying, give money to Hurricane Sandy, lots of victims, we need relief, we need to do that. Stick to the relief agencies that are known and trusted, First Aid, Red Cross, stuff like that. If you're solicited by someone, go to the websites, research, is it a legitimate relief agency? Is it one of those relief agencies where you give $1 but they take 75 cents for administrative fees for the, you know, I mean, but that's very common on any kind of a fundraising deal. Just make sure that you get the biggest bang for your buck. If you really want to help people, make sure that that money's going to where it says it's going to be going, and it's going to be helping the people that actually need the help. So, you know, right now with Hurricane Sandy, that is the biggest thing right now that they're going to get hit with, especially coming into the holiday season where everybody has, you know, kind of an open heart and they want to help people, and they, you know, because the holidays are more of a time where people are more apt to give money and to do things like that because it's just kind of the season, you know, to do it. And the way that this natural disaster fell, you are definitely going to see a lot of scams regarding that.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Something that we use every single day, everybody in the business world, everybody at home, is your computer, and specifically your email. What kinds of email scams are out there right now?
The way that I look at it is any kind of unsolicited email, be wary of it, you know. And then also, say for example, eBay. You know, a lot of people use eBay. My wife uses eBay a lot. Every time she purchases something, you know, I'm always leery of an email automatically from eBay saying, oh, well, we need to update your account, or there's been a purchase and we need to confirm the purchase. And then I'll immediately go to her and say, did you just sell something? Did you buy something? And she'll say no. It's obviously a scam, you know, because they just know, you know, and a lot of times they're just betting on the odds that you have an eBay account or you have an account with a certain bank, and they're just sending you information. It's called phishing. Just like you go fishing at the river, they're throwing a line out hoping that you bite and give them information, and then they reel you in. So That's kind of why they call it phishing, because they start out with no information and they're contacting you saying, hey, you need to verify your account, contact us. So then you send them the email back with all this information, and then they started out with maybe just your email address and your name, and now they've got a whole plethora of information that they can then take advantage of you with. So anytime you get an email from somebody, a bank, or somebody purporting to be a bank, or any kind of a merchant or vendor, don't ever respond with the email address that they give you, or don't ever call them with the email or the phone number that they give you. Do the research through the stuff that you have and contact them with the phone number that you have, and that's how you get a hold of them. It's no different than like if Potlatch, that's who I bank through, Potlatch Credit Union sent me an email saying verify this, but they give me a different phone number. If I call that number, they're going to answer Potlatch Credit Union, and then I'm going to say, well, I need to verify my account. Well, what's your account number, Mr. Birdsell? Well, it's this. Oh, okay. Well, I just need to verify your social security number. What's that? Okay. And then before we go any further, I need your date of birth and your address to confirm that. You've just given them the keys to the kingdom. Mm-hmm. They can use your information to open credit. They can use their information to contact other people, and they can start phishing with businesses and call Home Depot and say, oh, this is Brian Burdsell, and I need to change something on my account. I need a new card number. I need new this or that. And so once they have certain vital information of yours, it kind of just opens the doors for them to be able to contact people, take advantage of the credit you do have, and kind of sink your ship even further. And they'll do it real fast too. So it's not that it's going to happen over a year. If they get like I said, the keys to the kingdom, it's going to happen real fast, and they're going to drain it as fast as they can, so that by the time you catch it, you can't stop it. They've already maxed you out, and then you're going, what happened here? So internet, email phishing, stuff like that is very suspect. If you get something like that, contact that person directly with the way that you would make contact with them. Don't use any of the information that they give you to contact them, because it's no different than a soliciting phone call. They're starting with nothing. They're just using the internet versus the phone. Right. So,
are there any examples of that specifically happening here in the Valley?
It starts, well, there's lots of different ways that it can happen, but in Lewiston, for example, we've had people that get contacted and say that they've won either an item or money, and they want you to then either send bank information so that they can transfer the money into your account, or they want you to send them money to kind of guarantee the prize. So, well, Beach, you've won a new car. What we want you to do is send us money for storage fees until we can deliver the car, because you've won it, but we need to get the car to you. Until we can get it to you, we're going to charge you storage fees. That happened here in Lewiston recently, where a gentleman paid in excess of $60,000 on storage fees for a car that didn't even exist. He just thought that he won a car, kept sending money, and there was never any car to be had. Or I'm going to kind of divert a little bit and talk about, since we're talking about emails and stuff, is it can even start out with classified ads or stuff in Craigslist. One that just kind of, it really bothers me is this girl, new college student, comes to Lewiston, is looking for a job, so she goes to Craigslist looking for some kind of a part-time job that she can, make a little bit extra money. So she goes to Craigslist and finds a guy that needs a housekeeper. So, excuse me. So she sends an email saying, hey, I would be willing to do that. So his response is, okay, well, I'm going to be moving on this date. What I'm going to do is go ahead and prepay you so that you can go and clean the house. So then what happens is she gets a check in the mail for $2,500. And then another email saying, well, oh, I'm sorry, I overwrote the check. It should have only been for $500. If you would just deposit that in your account, keep the $500 for you, and then send me back the $2,000. So she goes up, puts the check in her bank account, takes out the $2,000, immediately sends it back to him. The bank processes the check. It's a bad check. There's no account. And she's out the $2,000 that she sent this guy, because it's just like any other check. If I write you a check, you put it in your bank account and it bounces, you know, you're kind of on the hook for that at your bank. So what happens is that girl is out that $2,000. She's shipped it off to somewhere else. Usually, like in this case, she sent it via Western Union. So once we were able to track that she sent that check down to a place in Georgia, a lady picked up the check and then immediately sent it to Nigeria. So it wasn't even a job that ever even existed. It was for an address that somebody actually lived in the house. It wasn't even a vacant house, you know. So they just pick a random address and, you know, kind of come up with this whole scheme on how to do this. This guy kept contacting her and telling her, hey, I can pay you to clean another house. And she's like, you've already taken me for $2,000. I'm not going to do it again. So you have to be really wary of any time that they want to send you money that's over the amount they're supposed to send you. And that also kind of ties in with a lot of people selling things on Craigslist. We had one where a guy was selling a snowmobile. So the guy sent him $3,000 for a $1,000 snowmobile and then said, well, take $1,500 for yourself to pay for the shipping and then send me back the $1,500 that was on that. So then they go deposit in their bank account, send back the $1,500, they're out $1,500. And so this guy on the other end has made $1,500 just sending a couple of emails, you know, in the snap of a finger.
Easy money.
Easy money.
Segueing into the Nigerian scam, that kind of leads into, you know, something that has been going on for a few years. Can you explain what the Nigerian scam is?
Well, a lot of people, the Nigerian scam actually started as fax. You'd get a fax on your fax machine, and then it kind of segued into emails. But usually what the Nigerian scam is somebody of prominence in another country, usually Nigeria, has a large amount of money that they need to transfer to an American bank account. And usually how that works is they say, I need to transfer this money to America. If you allow me to put it in your bank account, then I will give you a portion of the money. So what the people do is they send over their bank account numbers, their routing numbers and all that. The people immediately have a back door into their bank account and they go in and take money out of their account. So they think that there's going to be a big deposit made, then they start seeing a bunch of withdrawals, and by then it's too late. So the best way that I can say is, you know, when you're talking about, you know, or, you know, backing up just a little bit to the eBay or the Craigslist things, if you're buying something and somebody's sending you money that's more than what you're paying or selling the item for, it all comes down to, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. It's not, you know, gone are the days where you just get free stuff. Or I shouldn't say gone are the days, because I don't think they ever existed when you got free stuff. So, you know, if you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach that says something's not right here, listen to it, because something's not right.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a colleague a few years ago who, it's the Nigerian, I'm a Nigerian prince and I need this much money. And actually, it was like a month-long email back and forth, and a picture was sent of this good-looking guy, and it ended up being an absolute scam. You know, oh, I'm in trouble here in Nigeria. Can you send me some money? And she asked me, what should I do? I said, don't send money.
Never ever send money.
Don't send money. One I know that tugs to your heart a lot is the grandparent scam. If you could, let's talk about that.
And I think the reason this one tears at me the most is because it's targeting elderly people. And usually the reason they target elderly people is they're financially secure, they're at the end of their lives, they own their houses, they own all that. They usually have a large amount of money in savings, or they have access to cash. And so it starts out so easy, and it drives me crazy. But basically what it is you get a phone call and they answer the phone and they'll say, they'll say, Grandpa, whichever it is, Grandpa, how are you? Bob, is that you? Yeah, it's Bob. I haven't talked to you for a while. Well, what have you been up to? Well, they go through their little made-up story, and then they'll say, well, what's going on? And say, well, I'm down here in Mexico, and I got in trouble. I got in a car wreck. I got a DUI. I got in a fight. Whatever it is. I got in some kind of, maybe even a medical problem. And then they'll say, well, is everything okay? Well, I'm in jail, and they won't let me out of jail unless I post bond or I pay to get out of jail. So what'll happen is the grandpa will say, well, how much do you need? And in this case, the grandparent had actually traveled to Mexico on numerous occasions and had seen firsthand that it's kind of it's different than America. It's a little bit corrupt. The police aren't the police in America. And so what happens is, he says, I knew what it was like, so I wanted to get him out of the country. So he immediately goes down, gets some money, goes down and sends money, Western Union, down to Mexico to give, and he actually sends it in his grandson's name. The problem is, with Western Union and MoneyGram, you don't need ID necessarily to pick that money up. So I could go down there and say, you could say, I'm Brian Burdsell, I'm here to pick up some cash. Especially in a foreign country where they don't really care.
Yeah.
They're just, okay, whatever, Western Union's paying me my fee. I don't care who actually gets the money. So what happens is the guy thinks, oh my gosh, my grandson's okay. We got him out of there. But what happens is then he gets a call a little bit later because he's already on the hook. They've got him reeled in. He's bit off, he's sent him money. Well, Grandpa, I can't get out now because I missed my flight because I was in jail. I need a plane ticket to get out of Mexico. How much do you need? I need $1,500. Sends him another $1,500. Calls back later. Grandpa, I missed the flight because the police couldn't get me out of jail in time to do that and this, and they wouldn't give me a ride to the airport. I couldn't get to the airport. I need another plane ticket. Sends him another $1,500. And this continues on for a couple days, and this grandparent was on the hook for about $8,000 that he sent to somebody. Then he starts thinking about it, and he says, this doesn't seem right. Then he makes the phone call to his son to say, where is Bob? Well, he's in Colorado. He's at work. Why? What's going on? Why did this? Oh my gosh, that's not true. He hasn't been to Mexico. And they do that. But usually what the scammers will do is they'll put some kind of caveat in it where they'll say, and don't contact anybody because if the police find out you're contacting anybody, they're not going to let me out. So you have to keep this just between us. And they'll usually use, fear and intimidation to try to make you think that if I contact the police or I contact another family member, the whole thing's going to fall apart and now I'm going to have to stay in jail. But you're not,
Yeah.
Or even, so we've had them where people will get phone calls, say, well, this is Sergeant so-and-so with the whatever police department and I need this. If I arrest you, you're over 18, I'm not calling anybody on your behalf. It's your responsibility to call people. So if you get phone calls like that, number one, just say, okay, can I get a callback number for you? Call that relative, call that parent of that relative and say, what's going on? Is this true? Do your research ahead of time because then you can ward off sending any money to anybody. You're not out any money. But if you send that money, you're out that money. We don't have the resources to be able to go after that money because the Mexican police down there, they don't cooperate with U.S. authorities and stuff like that. A lot of times money will bounce from here to Canada or here to Mexico to Nigeria. Nigeria definitely doesn't cooperate with us. And a lot of times, victims get really frustrated with me when they come in because they'll say, well, why can't you do this? My jurisdiction ends at the city limits. I mean, I don't have statewide jurisdiction. I don't have county. I'm a city police officer. So then they'll say, well, can I go to the FBI? Well, you can go to the FBI, but the problem is this is such a humongous, widespread problem throughout the whole United States. The FBI doesn't have the resources to go after every single person. The threshold for the FBI to take a case, the last time I was told, was about $100,000 They don't take any cases under that because they just don't have the resources to go after those people. So it's kind of one of those things where these people that are committing the scams know that the law enforcement doesn't have all the ability to completely come after them, so they're just kind of sitting there and they just keep perpetuating and, you know, keep doing the scam, and it's just...
It's sad.
It's horrible.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, I want to thank you so much for hanging out today and informing the viewers on the potentials out there for this holiday season and the future, for that matter. So thanks again. I appreciate it. On behalf of everyone here, we see you next time on City Beat.